Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm uploading this to an old vlog channel that I tried making back in the day. This is Lucas. He must be involved in everything happening always. Come here. Come here. Come here. He's purring. He wants to be here. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and bipolar type 2. And it's really hard. There's been a lot of life experiences that got me to this point, which I'll probably talk about in future videos if this becomes a thing. But I was hospitalized for 22 days at the end of last year. I am now in a process where I'm trying to figure out who I am and how I can function in the world in a healthy way, because I'm not in pain anymore, but it's really easy to get triggered. It's really easy to be in pain again, emotionally. And I'm just really fragile. And I hate it. I hate feeling this fragile because I've worked so hard for so long to be a strong person. Yeah. Isn't he handsome? He is so handsome. My hair is sticking out in all different kinds of directions. Oh my God. I'm not letting you go. You're okay. You're okay. So, I'm going to have to put together my thoughts a little bit better than I am right now. I don't really know. I just knew I wanted to make a video. I really respect the YouTube community. I watch so much YouTube. I don't really put a lot out there. I'm like a lurker in that sense. But I want to be more involved and maybe bring somebody some understanding in a way that I've been seeking some understanding too. It's hard. It's really hard. I don't think everyone needs to put themselves out there, but I think that's something that I value. I value when people do that, so I would like to do that in return. Yeah, borderline personality disorder and bipolar type 2 are a lot. And I think rather than talking about what that diagnosis means, because there's a lot of great videos out on the internet about what that means and what the symptoms are, and I'll probably make my own in the future, but this one has more to do with what it's meant receiving that diagnosis and the beginning of that journey and like where that journey's going to go. He's like, who's that cat? Who's that guy in the video? It is really overwhelming and it's really hard, especially when you look back on past decisions and past choices and past situations where you realize like how deeply affected your judgment was, and that like how symptomatic past situations were, where you realize that like maybe people weren't meaning as much harm as they did, they created, that they didn't mean it, and that it was perceived as having created harm or exasperated situations. Also, as far as like growing up and receiving the trauma that causes this kind of stuff, that's really hard to pinpoint for me. My parents were very sweet, loving parents, but they didn't know how to parent because they had awful childhoods in their own right. My grandparents were crap. So I guess in that sense, it's become kind of generational between that and other situations that they didn't really have control over or know how to help me through. Yeah, so I've definitely had situations in my life where I hate myself, definitely had situations in my life where I've hurt myself, struggling with an identity and a sense of self and who I really am, not just who I want to be. I think I projected who I wanted to be onto magazines and the red carpet and actresses, and I idolized the theater because that's where I received the most happiness and most healing in my life, and then it ended up becoming something that it never, I don't know, my motivations for performance were not quite, I just know that they weren't healthy, and it might be a thing that I go back to, but I'm literally under doctor's orders to like find a 9-to-5 and just find a healthy routine. That's the thing that really does help me the most. I want to hold you. He's such a patient kitty because he loves the love. He loves the love. Ow! Okay, maybe not so much. He just wants to be let alone. It didn't actually hurt. I was just surprised. He doesn't usually do that. But I also don't usually cuddle him like a teddy bear like that either. His dad does all the time. His cat dad. My boyfriend. That's right. That's right. He's swishing his tail so hard at me right now. Oops. I think he just wants to play. He got his cuddles and now he's done. I'm rambling a little bit, but basically this has all been really overwhelming. When I deter from my routine, it's just hard to function, and I'm trying to be kind to myself and recognize how exhausting being triggered is and how exhausting episodes are, and balance that out with being responsible and getting things done and being a productive member of society. I just accepted a job, which I'm excited about. It took a month of applying, but I do have a lot of life experiences. They've just been all over the place, and I have a really fractured resume. And I would like to be able to maintain a routine for, a year or two. The same routine, but that means getting comfortable with the mundane, which is really hard when you're bipolar. And getting comfortable with the gray area, that things are okay and not okay at the same time, and that is in itself inherently okay. That's really hard for borderline, and that's what I need to get comfortable with in the future, going forward. And I've definitely had days where it's fine. It's not great. It's not awful. It's fine. And it's just so hard, and that ends up making it feel not fine because it's so unnatural and so uncomfortable to be mundane and to just have a routine and stick to it and be normal. And I feel that's why a lot of people need adventure, need excitement. And that's a personality trait. A lot of people do, and that's okay. I'm just in a point in my life where it's excitement and change and adventure is nice, but when you don't even have the focus or the energy to clean your room or pay your bills, you're in a bad space. You gotta be able to handle your responsibilities. Adulting, as they call it. Yeah, it's hard, but it has to be done. And it's I've been in this place where if it's hard, I can't do it. Why should I do it? It causes discomfort. It must be the worst thing in the world. Because I feel that discomfort 10 times more than other people do. And I'm exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted most of the time when I'm unmedicated and when I'm just not taking care of myself. And I struggle with the desire and the motivation to take care of myself because I'm either feeling super guilty at the time wasted, which is a product of just bad guidance as a kid. And I just have trouble having a balance between rest and work, and relaxation and motivation. And I have a struggle with motivating myself to take care of myself and to like myself and to be no, I need to stand up for this. This is a boundary I need because of who I am and what I know I need. I cannot, that's been my biggest thing. It's realizing that I don't do that and I need to do that. And it is so difficult for me to do that because my boundaries haven't been encouraged. And I've been in toxic situations where I feel I will lose love if I put up a boundary. That's not love. So I'm processing a lot right now. I have a very messy room and I want nothing more in the world than to just clean it. And I'm going to have to distract my racing thoughts and turn on a podcast or turn on something to listen to so that I don't listen to this. I can just chill out and work and get something done. And I don't think that coping skill is a bad thing. It's just frustrating when I don't have that, and then I feel completely unproductive and completely useless. Again, I'm probably not actually completely useless. This is really hard. I had a really interesting day yesterday where I recognized that something that my boyfriend did or didn't do in this situation felt like a huge rejection and a huge, like, just dismissal of my needs and my wants and my expectations. And I just had to recognize that he loves me. We didn't have the same expectations going into the situation. I know the reasons why X, Y, and Z happened and didn't happen. And it absolutely doesn't help anybody or anything to like harp on the same argument 1,000th time. So I was like, I just need to deal with this sense of fear of abandonment and rejection. I just need to like cope through it rather than project it onto him, because he's not abandoning me. He loves me and he does take really good care of me. I tried, and I ended up like putting up this huge border, this like wall of like, I'm struggling and I need to deal with this by myself. And I don't know how that went off, and it's just gonna, I would probably go into more detail about it, but I'm trying to keep these videos like not forever and ever and ever long. For some reason, my computer is like, there's a limit on how much it wants me to upload at a time, and I'm trying to figure that out, but whatever. Sorry for bumping my computer. So, I don't know. I hope talking about this stuff will help somebody in the future, but basically, hospitalization was really scary and one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I got out of it everything that you can get out of a situation like that. I tried to make the best of it. I was definitely in a unit where there were a bunch of people who were just struggling with drug addiction and like destroying their lives. And I'm really thankful I wasn't exposed to a lot of things that probably would have made me feel better in the short term and would have absolutely destroyed me in the long term. That doesn't mean I wasn't addicted. I am not addicted to a lot of things. I absolutely am. They just happen to not be illegal. They're still just as destructive because it's an addiction and it's something you forfeit your needs in order to achieve. You forfeit your health in order to get that thing that temporarily makes you feel better. All bad stuff. So, I know my family thinks that putting yourself out on the internet in the world is a terrible, horrible, scary thing, but I really appreciate the people who have done it, so I'm going to, because that's who I am and that's what I want. And I just need to, I don't know, recognize that it's a risk that I'm willing to take because I hope maybe it'll help somebody somewhere someday. Because seeing these vlogs and seeing people process what they're going through helps, and it helps me realize like a lot of the things I went through are way more than anyone should ever go through. And maybe eventually I'll go through like the list of things that have happened to see if people relate to it. But I'm still kind of trying to process like how bad things actually were and how much I've been putting up with. That's not okay. That's a real lack of self-care and lack of self as a priority. That feels inherently selfish to me, but like I'm trying to find the balance of like healthy selfishness. I don't know. I don't even know who I am. I think I do, but I don't. And I'm trying to figure out who she is. And that's changing. And it changes. It changes with life. It changes with haircuts. It changes with everything. It changes with age. It changes with life goals. Thank you for listening. I love you guys. Don't hurt yourselves. Love yourselves. And thank you.